point. Like when they are performing, you wouldn't hear it and all. But I guess it comes with producing live shows and all these things. But then I don't expect them to be repeating it every year and all these things. But overall, I felt like they did an amazing job, considering the fact that there was a heavy downpour prior to the show, and they were able to. I mean, when I saw the pictures of the red carpet, all the carpets were like soaked in water and all those things. So I thought there was going to be like maybe green carpet or blue carpet or something else. But then they put up a great show on the red carpet, proceeded to the auditorium. And yeah, shouts to them. It wasn't different from what we experienced last year, but there was a bit of improvement. And in the middle of pandemic, I would give it to them for putting up a show that had generated this much talkability.
Okay. On Friday, you had mentioned issues pertaining to light in previous editions. Was it any better this time round?
I mean, it was. You see, I don't know who was in charge of lighting. I don't know how they planned their lighting and all this thing. But I felt the lighting was too much. It was like the lighting was the center of attention. The beautification of the stage, or how to highlight artists on stage. Everything was like the lights doing everything for them, and it was so hard. Like, and the way they switched the light and all this. As I said, if you have epilepsy, you can't watch it from home because you see lights, the rays crossing each other and all those things. It was violent on the stage. You understand? But as I said, from where I sit, that is how I saw it. If they feel like that is what would make their show nice to their audience, so be it. I have never organized an event before, so I give it. I'll make it fly.
Okay, all right. Thank you for those violent comments. Let's hear from Daniel Latte now. Daniel, good afternoon. Can you hear me? Okay, Daniel can't hear me now, so we'll get him on and then we'll get his views as well. How about Nathalia? Nathalia, can you hear me? Good afternoon. Okay, Nathalia also cannot hear me. Don't worry. Then we'll take a look at. In fact, we'll delve straight into the awards. Let's go to day one. I saw a few people say a few things, and so I want to start with those ones. Sheldon, I don't remember when last. Okay, let me not say what I want to say. But yeah, producer of the year went to Richie, and instrumentalist of the year also went to Richie. Were you surprised at all by that?
Yeah. So you see, you know that the conversation on social media right now is the fact that I even tweeted, said they should have organized this award in Richie's house since they wanted him to win all the awards and all those things, because it was like the awards was about him. He produced Adina's album, he won an award. He took away 4 awards. Like, it was all about Richie. So I tweeted, said, Abia Chatter should have just organized it in his studio or something like that. And you see, that is the problem with the VGMAs. There is this assertion out there that there are some people who are industry favorites, you understand? And listen, no matter what you do, they are going to get the awards. They are going to be giving the awards. Listen, the year under review, the producer of the year category, for instance, Emoji.
A number of people have said
this guy went. He produced some of the notable songs in the system. So how did Richie win that category and won the other one too? You understand? And this was Academy. The Academy determined most of the industry awards. Like, they have majority. They have a lot of say in who wins and who doesn't win and all this.
Right.
So I had an issue with Richie winning. It's like the production part of the music awards, man. It was dedicated to Richie. If it was like some achievement, lifetime achievement in that they wanted, they should have let us know. Because you can't tell me that Richie worked more than Emoji and in the year under Richie. And that is my issue with them. That is my issue. It became a Lynx Music Awards instead of Ghana Music Awards. And I don't like it. I don't like it.
So, but is it the case though that
Can I speak to that
yes,
briefly?
yes, kindly do.
So I think it's not fair to put it in that kind of open closed statement and say that, because it's also driven by the definitions they have for the categories.
Okay.
And so you realize that by definition, the song that wins record of the year, also the engineer who produced that becomes the engineer of the year. So that makes it very set. And then when you look at the producer of the year, it also comes with its own definitions. And so, yes, there may be other people doing amazingly, but if they didn't get enough sort of nominations for the works they did, as well as wins, etc., they may not pick it. So I think it wouldn't
Okay,
be
I mean, so
fair
it's good. It's good you've
to
given us that
put
context.
it out there like
But
that.
what goes into the category of, say, producer of the year? What goes into determining who wins producer of the year, based on their own outline?
I would have to cross check.
Right.
I have to cross check that again per the definitions. But like I said, everything is driven by the definitions they have set. So we must use those definitions to disagree or not to disagree, and then maybe even seek for redefinitions of these categories.
Okay. But in your own view,
Okay, I think I have information on the
you have
producer
that
of the
one.
year
Okay, share with
this week.
us.
So the producer of the year, the music producer of the year is adjudged by the board to be the producers, to be the producer directly responsible for the most nominated songs in the year and that is for the producer of the year. Okay. And the sound engineer of the year is adjudged by the board to be the sound engineer who is directly responsible for recording, mixing, and technical production of a song, adjudged as the record of the year. So these are the definitions
Okay.
for the.
Then by
Yes, and you would
these
agree
by
that
these contexts,
definition
then
lets
that should
people
be
have the most nominations as well. So that sort of put them in the lead. So
I mean, yeah, so
it
that was what I
answers
was
that
getting to.
question.
So Sheldon, would you then perhaps
Yeah.
revise your notes if that is really the case? I mean, if these are the things that we have to go by, then it's quite obvious that Richie deserves it, because I think Adina alone got the highest nominations. There was Kiddy, there was Kwame Eugene, and I think a few others also, right?
Yeah.
Right. So then.
Okay. So that is not okay. Okay, no problem. So based on these definitions, we could say okay, Richie deserved it by some, way or the other, what they are saying. By the end of the day, my point is the works that the songs that MOG worked on. Why were some of these songs not nominated for him to have been in this category, for him to have an upper hand in some of these categories? Because obviously he worked on some of the top songs in this country. Probably they didn't get nominated for some reasons known to them. So that is what I'm talking about.
Okay. So perhaps, if I understand you correctly, perhaps your suggestion then is because maybe Richie may be on the board, he perhaps found.
Now Richie is not on the board. He's not on the board.
No, so there may have been a way to get a lot more of Richie's songs nominated, for which reason, or by extension.
Yes, and
then,
that is my problem. Yeah, okay. Because it's like the award scheme was about him. And listen, personally, I have never listened to Adina's album. It has never popped up in my newsfeed or anywhere. But he got nominated. He got an award. You understand? Yeah. As compared to other works by MOG that are popular in the space or the year. You understand? But some of the works out there are getting nominated. His works are not getting nominated. Therefore, when it comes to the record of the year and producer of the year, the definition for the categories, it'll put him in a disadvantageous position. Right. That is what I'm talking about.
Okay. All right. Let's hear from Natalia. She's joined us now. Natalia, good afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. And you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Right. I wish we could see you though, but it's okay. We'll make do with the voice.
I know.
Anyway, so we are doing a bit of an assessment of the events that happened over the weekend, the Friday and Saturday. Let's start with your general impressions of the show, and then perhaps we can dovetail into some of the other categories and the winners.
Right.
So let's start with the general impressions.
I think in general, it was just, it was the usual VGMA that we've seen over the years. I won't say anything was different in particular. I just love the fact that they still have their live performances, even though, we still have some of the COVID protocols to observe. But that notwithstanding, we had good performances, some good live performances, and I think that in general it was the usual. I can't say it was an okay or overly okay or not as expected, or it was just the usual.
So it was an ordinary show in your estimation. Is it to suggest it didn't meet your expectations?
No, I wouldn't say it was an ordinary show. I don't think that the VGMAs have ever given me, in my estimation, an ordinary show. Their shows are, what they give us, what they've given us over the years. It's okay. It's what we know. It's what we've loved. It's not like, sometimes I want to say that they set the bar to a certain place, and you're hoping that the following year they will go over that bar, But for me, I feel like they have still stayed at the same place, when it comes to the awards, and it's okay,
Were you at all surprised by some winners?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
I think I overheard Sheldon and, is it Amaya or Deborah you have?
Yes, both Sheldon and Amaya are on the line. Yes.
Right. I can't see anything. I'm only doing audio, so I really don't know. But I think I overheard them talk about Richie Mensah and, winning Sound Engineer of the Year. It was quite surprising for a lot of people because, in his particular category, we've seen the likes of MOG doing so much in the year under review. And I don't know if I can pinpoint, unless I have not been observant, but I can't pinpoint. It's just
essentially, it's been a while. You heard a lot of it's a hit, man thing, right?
It has been a while. It has been a while.
Right.
And so it begs the question how he got producer of the year, And I'm not the only one. I think after that, you see how on social media, there's so much commentary going on social media, and everybody is talking about this or that. And especially with his category, it was quite the surprise.
Okay. Thank you for those words. Amiel, at this point, though, I think I have to bring you in. Based on the definition, or at least the criteria for awarding for these two categories we are looking at, Richie technically deserves it, right? But would you then fault the organizers for not perhaps properly communicating well enough to people? Because the backlash they may be getting on social media may be undeserving. Because per those criteria, then there's nothing really wrong, or?
Yeah, I agree. And I think even some of the industry people themselves don't understand it. So perhaps they have to do a little bit more education with their communication for people to understand more what the definitions for the various categories are. Because again, when it comes to nominations, MOG was nominated. So it shows you that they realized that he did work, and most of the songs he did were also nominated. But then at the end of the day, it's a function of who got the most nominations, who won the most. That will ultimately decide who the producer of the year is. So I think that education needs to be
but I
continued.
wonder
Otherwise,
why
people just look at the awards, they look at it and say this person deserves this, but not so much understanding what goes, at least per their definition, goes into the selection of winners.
Right. I mean, so I'm asking this. I'm beginning to wonder why people have this kind of impression that perhaps producer of the year must necessarily go to maybe somebody else. Maybe, is it the case that the criteria has been changed over the period? The requirements for who is to be awarded producer of the year or this of the year, has that changed for that particular category?
It has been changing. It has been changing, but it hasn't changed suddenly to be something else. This has always been the case, but it's just that, for instance, if you are somebody who follows music and you hear producer of the year, it's by logic that you assume this producer is the person who produced the most hits, etc., etc. So in your mind, you have perhaps what should be the basic definition of the producer of the year. So I think that's why a lot of the public discussions are going that way. They are not considering what the real definition for the award is. So it's understandable. You just need to do a little bit public education around that, and maybe people will get it a lot more. And maybe, like I said, it's about time they also looked at this definition and make it reflect more what perhaps the public is expecting.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. We'll come to that in a bit. I want us to hold on briefly on the categories and perhaps look at the performance. I think perhaps I should have brought that in before we even went into this. But let's take a look at the performances in general. Which of the performances did it for you? Which was your pick of all the performances? And I must say, some were rather cool. I really saw some interesting ones. And I think based on what you had mentioned on Friday, I kept a close eye on how they were going to do a few things to perhaps pick bits and pieces from 3 Music Awards. And I think I may have seen that in Mr. Drew's performance, because there was a pre-recording and then a live thing which was merged. And so I think that was a plus. But from where you sit, which of the performances was your pick?
Yeah, so I mean, like, again, I want to make that distinction that watching from there feels different from when we're also watching on screen. So our views may differ.
Okay.
But being there, obviously, Mr. Drew's performance stood out. Like what you said, beginning with that Michael Jackson Thriller sort of angle, and now coming on stage and to combine dance and still hold his breath and control the voice was really, really good. It was masterful. I like that. I also like Kwame Eugene's performance. The fact that there was some sort of progression each time he was performing a song. I thought it was over when he performed with Otiame Kwame, and for him to come back and give that sort of a finale, a showstopper, wearing Dallas. I mean, all that confetti that they blew up, it took like 5 minutes for them to clean it all off stage. So it was very interesting. It showed that growth. I also liked the subtleness of Adina's opening performance. It was really touching, and then the way she progressed to up it to do Why was also really good. Efia was masterful, but I felt her performance was a little bit all over the place at some point.
Okay.
I also, for the rap, I like Eno Baroni. The part where she was coordinating the dancers and they were moving to the beat. It was cool. I also liked the way the Asaka boys represented. They kept it very simple, but you could feel that they wanted to make a case. And this was some of my highlight. Medical's performance was very on point. I think he stood at one place throughout, but it was well delivered, and the background, everything was really, really smooth. So I had some highlights in terms of the performances, watching from the auditorium.
Okay, Sheldon, how about you? Do you have any picks for the performances?
Okay, so first of all, I know that we want our artists to work on their performances when it comes to performing on stages and all those things. But you see, the live band, if you have not perfected the act of performing with live instrumentation, it is not by force. Come and mind your mind and go. It's like, I don't know if the organizers force some of the artists to do the live thing, or they decided to be part of the trend, because if you don't do it at that point, you wouldn't be. They wouldn't see you as a proper musician or whatnot. Because some of them came on stage, they decided to mime to their song, jump 1, 2, 3, 1. Hey, what's the name? Can you hear me? This and this, and they left stage. Some also came to the. Some also came on stage prepared. Like I love Mr. Drew's performance. He added value to the performance, and that is what you see. Most of these artists, most of the people that they watch the VGMA and all those things, or the people that buy tickets to go and watch these award shows, they go there because of the performances. You understand? So if you don't give them value for the money or their eyeballs, then it becomes something. So I love the work, the artistry Mr. Drew put in. Adina came in and did a 10. Kwesi Arthur, I am a Kwesi Arthur fan, but I feel like at this point where he has gotten to the music industry, he has to work on his stage performance. You understand? It's not always about holding the mic and removing your shirt and just shouting up and down. You understand? Add value to the performance. I felt he was all over the place. He didn't know the directions that he was supposed to go and all those things. And let's get back to the Castro tribute that they did for him or something like that. This idea was it for them to go and bring Kel Songs to come and pay tribute to Castro. This guy didn't know what he was doing. The performance was so whack. I had to switch off my TV, go and sleep, and come back for the next one. He was crossing Sarkodie left, right, center. It was as if that was his time to shine, and he was capitalizing on it. He was sending offloads and all those things. Whose idea was it that Kel Songs should come and pay? Castro must be whipping at Atlantis.
Okay, Sheldon.
And it's sad.
Right.
You see, if you want to give a befitting and a proper tribute to Castro, Kel Songs was a wrong choice. And I would force the organizers, whoever.
Okay. I think Castro has heard your call, and so the internet has given us a bit of a breather there. But Kojo Sheldon he was making a point about the performances, and I think he had cited a particular one as regards the one which was done in memory of the late Castro. And so we'll come back to him. Kojo, thank you. Even though at a point we lost you, but thank you. We'll come back in a short while. I want to hear from Natalia as well. Natalia, did you have any strong moments or any strong points when it comes to the performances? Yes.
Yes, I was absolutely agreeing with Kojo when he mentioned the Castro tribute. I felt like it must have been a last-minute thought because it was so disorganized. And I'm thinking that if you want to pay tribute to Castro, there are some particular people who need to be a part of that tribute.
Example?
And those people did not feature or were not there. I mean, somebody like Kewa should have had a message of some sort for Castro. We all know Kewa and Castro and the kind of relationship they had.
Maybe
we're looking at Poexpo, we're looking at Miss Bell, and all these people they didn't necessarily have to be part of the performance, but maybe if they had messages to deliver prior to the performance, and then Kel Songs, I don't know whose decision it was for Kel Songs to be the one to do that, but it was just really, it was wrong.
So that was a low moment for you.
That was a low moment for me. That was a very low moment for me because I think Castro, with who he was in our life, he deserves so much more than that tribute. That tribute was very, below expect. It didn't cut it for me at all.
Right.
But when it comes to the performances that I enjoyed, absolutely Mr. Drew is on top of the list. There was Adina as well. Etia started well for me, but somewhere in there, I don't know, but it felt like she lost the coordination for a minute. But of course, we know her. She always puts it together. So I love her performance as well. And I love Yao Tog and Kofi Jama coming together, to give us that performance. I loved that as well. And I loved Eno. Oh my goodness, I loved Eno's performance as well. I feel like, she's finally coming to her own, and even her red carpet appearance absolutely did it for me. God is definitely a woman, if you ask me. She looked fabulous, and her performance was really on point. So When it comes to performances, I think, these are the people who did it for me.
Okay. Let's take a look at this. You had mentioned Adina, so I'm going to rope her into this conversation.
All
Album
right.
of the year, Adina's Araba got that.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people say, as for this one, yeah. But let's hear you. What are your thoughts on
She
the?
didn't deserve it.
You
Okay,
don't
so
think
she
she
was
deserved it?
going, no, people are saying she didn't. She was going against a Daco Vibe,
Right.
Kwame Eugene,
So yes, there was Daku
medical,
Vibes, Kwame Eugene, Medical, Miss V,
medical,
Strongman,
Miss
Kelvin
V,
Boy, and
Strongman,
Joey
Kelvin
B.
Boy, yes. And, I would say maybe her strongest contender must have been Kwame Eugene.
Right.
If you ask me. But, of course, per how the decision was made with the voting and the board and everything, I think that people just seem to have liked the album more, So it's not really a matter of, for the people who are complaining about, oh, but she didn't deserve it. I don't know how their votes contributed, to the people that they would have preferred to win. So it was just a matter of, if you ask me, I won't say that I want to choose my words here. I don't want to say that she didn't earn it because she worked hard, but I also don't want to say that she earned it. So I'm, stuck in the middle somewhere.
So much as you think she worked hard enough, you are perhaps of the view that maybe somebody else may have worked harder and may have been more deserving of the award than she.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, you know how these things work, a lot goes into the decision.
Right.
It's not as simple as people would want it to be.
That's true. Right.
So it's just happened the way it's happened. Maybe in future people can pay more attention and be able to vote for the album that they think best deserves to win in that category.
Okay. Let me come to Sheldon. Let me ask you this though. About Adina, even though the award still went to Links, let's look at this. Between Kwame Eugene, Son of Africa, and Adina's Araba, because that has been as I follow the things on Twitter, that's what I see. A lot of people suggesting Kwame Eugene perhaps should have won that. Are you of that same view, or perhaps you hold a different one?
Yeah, Kwame Eugene's Son of Africa should have won the Album of the Year category. Now, the Album of the Year category, this is the definition. They say the album must have a certain number of hit songs. And in addition to that, it must have quality production. And generally, the album should should create some sort of excitement in the system. See, I have listed 3 things in the definition. Just let me understand where Adina's album is for. Which kind of excitement? We go skip the production part. How many hit songs are on the album? Listen, take Kwame Eugene's Son of Africa. We have Show Body. It has a lot of hit songs on the album. Right. Production quality, and it qualifies to be an album of the year. And you see that this is another problem. The definition that they gave for the album to be selected in that category name, I don't know. First of all, I don't know why her album was even nominated. Because first of all, the album didn't generate any excitement. It didn't have that kind of hit factor. It was just one of those made albums. But I don't know if they are trying to push some form of superwoman kind of agenda in the industry or something. Because clearly, based on the definition of the album of the year, her album didn't even have to be on the list. But it went on the list in the first place. And it competed against Kwame Eugene's album, and it won. This should tell you the state of the industry that we are in. You understand? Kwame Eugene gave us one of the top albums in the year under review. I reviewed the album with him in the studio, and I saw how production-wise they worked so hard on this album. And you want to tell me they should quit tripping, man?
Okay, Amel.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
right.
for me, the Adina album is a very good album. You can't take that away from it. Perhaps like everybody else is saying, when it comes to the popularity and the mass appeal, obviously, Son of Africa will inch past it. But if you look at the definition, it shows you that also for consideration is the element of quality production and all of that, and that definition, that decision of what is good quality would lie in the hands of those who would vote. And so I think this award is there's no public voting in it. It's the academy and the board. And if that's the case, then obviously the element of popularity perhaps would also be reduced a little bit. But that's why it was a big tune. People loved it. It was played quite well. And even Daddy's Little Girl was also quite popular. But I understand. I think when I was reviewing myself, I chose Son of Africa over Adina's. But yeah, but it's not entirely a bad album. Yeah.
Okay. Since we are on this, we'll go through some of the other controversial awards rather quickly. But I mean, I'll stay on. Best rap performance. We had Amrado, Eno Baroni, Joey B, Medical, Sarkodie, and Strongman. Eno Baroni won it with God is a Woman. Any surprises there?
So should I talk?
After me, Sheldon,
I
you
wasn't
come in.
I wasn't so surprised because when I was trying to do my prediction, I was even struggling because when people hear rapper, they immediately look at the personality, but it's a performance on a specific song, and so you have to look at it on that level, and not the people behind it, but more on the specific song. And to be honest, most of the songs in that nominations were not songs that I knew or liked so much. So for me, it could go anyway, and I think her picking Next Up isn't bad. She's consistently been in the space, even more so last year, lockdown period. She was in the news, she was vibing, and so her picking it, I think she deserved it. Especially, she picked it after I saw her perform on stage on the night. So for me, it sort of made sense, and I won't take it from her. But everybody else, I guess, when it comes to rap, I don't even know what I'm looking for. Whether I'm looking for the lyrics or the arrangement or what. So people's choice of what is better would vary. But I think based on what I saw, it's not bad that she picked it up.
All right, Sheldon.
Women power. Women power.
Yes.
Crazy. Man.
All right, Sheldon, let's hear you.
So, you see, Eno Baroni has been slept on for a very long time, and I am happy finally she's been recognized in the industry, you understand? In an industry where the male side, like the males, then they dominate the space there. It's very, very, very hard for some of these female rappers to break through. But Eno Baroni has been relevant for the past 2 years, past 3 years. He's been putting out quality content, quality songs, and she has, I don't know if it's right now, she used to wrap up.
Okay. We've lost Sheldon temporarily there. He will rejoin us pretty shortly, but he's making reference to a lot of the things that happened at the VGMAs. The last thing he had mentioned was how Eno Baroni seems to now be getting the kind of attention and recognition that she deserves. But since we are still on the woman, and we're talking about how Eno Baroni won that particular award, maybe I should throw it to the woman. Natalia, I'm sure this should be exciting news for you because you're in the industry. A lot of the time they say it's very difficult for women to break through the barrier. The ceiling is too high, you know. So when a lady is able to shatter the glass ceilings like she's doing now, it should be some good news. But some say, even though she did quite well and perhaps she's deserving, there are other people who may have also been quite deserving. I've seen a lot of people make reference to Amrado, some also suggesting Strongman, and of course, the Sarkodie conversation never dies down. So, really, your take?
I think Eno hands down deserved it. Hands down deserved it. I think indeed God is a woman. Because, you know, having been here in the same space, going toe-to-toe with the men, for the past, 3 years, 4 years, and she's never backs down doing what she does, and she does it very, very well.
Right.
So I absolutely was excited when she got the award, especially as it came right after she, finished performing, and it was exciting for me. I was excited. She deserves this, honestly.
Okay.
And I don't care what other people are saying. We know Strongman, we know Amrado, we've seen them. I don't even want to get into the conversation about them and rap. I mean, that's not to say they are not good. They're very good. But I don't want to get into that conversation. When I'm having a conversation about Eno, I want it to be about, I don't even want to have a conversation about them. So for the people who think she didn't deserve it, that's, entirely, they are, that's what they think. That's just how they are thinking.
Okay.
But if you ask me, I think she absolutely deserves
That's
it.
fine. That's fine. We'll go quickly to the artist of the year because it appears we've even eaten too much time. But before that, let's just spend few minutes on this, please. So we'll be rather brief with our comments when it comes to these categories I'm going to mention. Rather brief. Best new artist of the year: Amrado, Bosumpi Young, Deadpool, Jackie, Kofi Jamal, Kweko Flake, Larusso, Mr. Drew, Yao Tog, and Kamido. Mr. Drew won. Any surprises there? I'm still with Natalia. Natalia, any surprises? Rather quickly.
No surprises there.
No surprises.
Mr. Drew has earned his place.
Okay.
All right. He's done it. He's done it all. Unfortunately, I feel like the likes of Jackie and Yao Tog, as much as they fit into the year and the review, I feel like they were displaced, because they didn't get the opportunity to properly fight for that category.
Now, Amel, you predicted that Mr. Drew was going to win, and he's won. Any surprises? Of course, there ought to be no surprises there, because that was your prediction on Friday.
So, no, I wasn't surprised at all. I think he stood out in the year, and so it went the right way.
Okay, Sheldon, I think you had also gone for Mr. Drew on Friday when we spoke, right?
Yeah.
So no surprises there as well.
So I mean, he deserves it. The year I review, he worked very hard, and he did this one for bored niggas. So shout out to all my bored people out there. Mr. Drew won this one for us, and he's an amazing artist.
Okay, Sheldon's internet today is doing a few things with us. I don't know whether it's because he mentioned Castro, but don't worry, we'll come to that again. So there's one other category I want us to look at. No, two more. Vodafone most popular song of the year. Now here are the nominees: Atajwa, Busumpi Young, Adum Dina Entry Hamilton, No Darling by Keche, Enjoyment by Kidi, Sissan by Kim Promise, Kosu Kofi Jama, Open Gate, Kwame Eugene, La Hustle Remix, Medical, Happy Days, I called Sorry I'll Talk, Say Cheese, Kidi, in a song that called Vibes. Some way, somehow, Dina Entry Hamilton won this. I was surprised, to be very honest with you. I didn't think she was going to win this. Much as the song was quite popular, I just didn't think she was going to win this. I mean, were you as surprised as I was?
I think although Adom was massive, there were really, in the secular world, there were so many bigger hits in that regard. But then you have to look at it being based on voting and looking at things. I think they really pushed. The church people pushed. And so, again, I wasn't so surprised. If you look at their social media, you realize they were really pushing. I think last week, Arnold said something like some of the artists were not really sort of engineering the people to vote for them. And this is a perfect example of somebody who wanted it, who her people also wanted it, so they kept voting. So it was a popular song. You can't take it away from her, but I was surprised she picked it.
What would have been your pick, though, of the several nominees here?
To be honest, I was torn because there was Enjoyment, there was No Darling.
Yes.
I think I settled on No Darling or something.
Even Atajwa was in there, and Atajwa was quite popular.
Yeah, but Atajwa had a problem. I think, when I think here Atajwa, it feels like I had it 2 years ago for some reason.
Okay.
So I don't know why. I think Yeah, so I always took him out of the year, although when it happened, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sheldon, how about you?
Okay, so you see, the popularity of a song is not determined by Twitter trends, and that is what the argument on Twitter. That is what I want them to understand. And the music industry goes beyond Twitter. So the fact that probably you didn't hear Adumo on Twitter or it didn't trend on Twitter, that doesn't mean that people weren't consuming it. Now, I entered places where I wasn't expecting that song there, where they play out for them. See, the song was so huge. Even TikTokers were using it. Instagram Reelers were using it. It was all over the place. Even Snapchat, Snapchat, it was all over the place. So, I mean, her winning the most popular song of the year, she deserves it. Okay. You understand?
Right.
She worked hard for it. The song was all over the place. And the fact that the Pentecost Church stood behind her, I admire that. And Charlie, congratulations to her.
Artist of the year, most talked about so far. Sheldon, I'm starting with you on this. Artist of the year.
Okay. Okay.
The Golden Boy didn't win.
Okay.
Again, Adum won.
Okay, so the artist of the year, the category definition is that you go fit take album, EP, or a single get nomination in that category. Right. So the argument out there that she used only one song to get into that category, is flawed, because you go fit use album, you go fit use EP, and you go fit use single. Now, this is the problem with music consumers in this country. They think that the fact that the song is popular on Twitter or is popular in Accra, it is popular everywhere. Like the song has hit. You understand? No. This song, this particular song, this song that we are talking about, it has so much impact. For a single song to even get her nominated in that category was huge enough. So I wasn't surprised. I mean, he did well. He dropped an EP. He had some of the bangable tunes in the system. But you can't relegate to the background that this particular song and this woman worked hard. And the fact that, it's not about academy and voting day. It's like she has everybody was behind. I don't know how she did it, but she had politicians, she had the church members, she had our mothers. Even my mom was campaigning for her. You understand? And they were voting. So if voting, they determine some of these awards. She won it, and she should be congratulated for that.
Okay. Let's hear from Natalia. Natalia, are you also of the view that Adum perhaps deserved the artist of the Daniel Hamilton deserved the artist of the year?
Yes, I think she absolutely deserved the artist of the year, because she, apart from working hard, she asked for votes to be directed to her. She asked for her people to vote for her. And the Christian community, they don't back down when they identify an artist as one of theirs. They actually vote. It's not just a mouth thing. It's not lip service for them. They actually do the voting. So I think that she rightly deserved it. As much as people would have loved for Kitty to win Artist of the Year, what role did they play to make sure that he actually gets that?
Right. Okay.
So I think that Diana Hamilton, she earned it. Apart from doing the hard work, she also asked for people to vote for her, and they did. Okay. So no questions there. People don't like it, but it's just what it is.
Amel.
I think I'm going to be the odd one out in this. Okay. Yes, everybody who was nominated deserved to win. But I mean, yes, the definition asks for song, it asks for album, it asks for everything else. And if there are people in there who had it all across, good song, good album, a body of work, and then artistry, it obviously puts someone ahead of the other. And yes, voting matters, and like I said, you could tell that she pushed to get the votes. But I feel when it comes to the industry people, even if the public is voting for her because of that song, the industry people, the board, the academy, they should have looked at the other things that truly, truly, truly matter, and should have given it to some other people beyond her, because I think it's not good enough to. Well, Kitty could have been there, medical could have been there, even Kwame Eugene could have been there, because they truly embodied what a complete artist is. It's not just, I think just one song is not good enough for her to win the Artist of the Year, because the competition was very, very tough. And I think for me, Diana, this was good, but she had the least strongest completeness. I don't know what I'm saying, but yes, I truly believe that. I mean, when he read the definition for the category, it tells you this or this or that, and some people have all of it together. So by logic, I think this wasn't the time for Diana to win.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Since we have been talking about Diana Antwi Hamilton and Kiddy, and our time is fast spent, let me go back to Kiddy. Even though I'm not asking a question, I will be back. Please, can you get me that footage? I'll be back. Yeah. Oh, you can get me the footage.
I'll be back.
So that's how I wrap up the show. And I will be back. Not today, though. It will be on Wednesday. My name is Kwabena Chencheni, and this has been another edition of Opposing Views. My guests today have been Amir Debra, who is a blogger, Kojo Sheldon, a content creator, is also with MX24. Daniel Lati, he was unable to join us. He's an entertainment publicist. And then Natalia Ando, an entertainment pundit and radio personality. As we end the show, we are going to give you exclusive footage of Diana Antwi Hamilton as she met with some of her fans, selected fans, after the award ceremony. I told you that we're going to give you a lot of exclusive access, and for those of you who followed our social media handles, you got a lot of exclusive information. Watch out for a lot more of such. Anything entertainment, anything fun, you can be sure that MX24 will be there. And so please, like I said, if you've not subscribed, if you are not watching, if your friend is not watching, please tell them, let them start scanning. Scan your TV. There's a lot of fun content right here on this channel. So as we wrap up, and as I say, I'll be back, I end with that very exclusive footage of Diana Antwi Hamilton with some selected fans as they celebrated her victory.